Funding for this program is brought to you by these great supporters: English Gardens, Gardner White, Clark Fox Family Foundation, the Van Elslander Family Foundation, and by these supporters.
If you give love, you're going to get love back. If you find someone that doesn't have a smile, give them your smile. And when you give them your smile, they're going to smile back at you.
Love is everything. Love is the most powerful emotion that exists, and we all want to be loved.
If you know Florine Mark, you know that she has no give up. It's very rare. So for someone like myself who's handled icons of advertising here in Detroit, you know that they all have something in common, and what they have in common is they love what they do.
Most women, especially in the business world, I believe make a lot of decisions emotionally, and they lead with their heart, and she definitely is one that leads with, gut instincts and love.
I mean, she just loves life. And her love, love, love on every single piece of paper and that's her signature.
I know that in her speeches, it's a huge importance to self-love, and when you have more self-love, you have more love to give.
And I think the love, love, love just portrays the personality of her. She loves people. She's known for being fabulous with communications and correspondence. If you send Florine a letter, you're going to get a letter back thanking you. She just wants people to know that she has passion and she has love.
She really believes that staying connected means sending thank you notes, calling someone on their birthday. She believes in maintaining those personal touch points and those personal connections.
I feel love when I'm around her because every time I see her, she does a squeezing hug. Hugs a lot.
She is someone that people instantly recognize and puts a smile on their face because they're going to hear something good. They're going to hear something positive.
It's about loving others and making sure that you know that she loves you. And it's about making sure that you share your love with others so that it gets passed on.
It's a really, really positive mindset that she has, which I think if 25% of the people on this planet had it, we'd be living in a totally different world.
As Alan Mullally said, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And how you affect individuals and how you make them feel about yourself is one of the ways you combat the darkness that exists within the world. You can't fix all of it, but if you shine some light in your own little corner of the world, that makes a difference. And Florine shines a very big light.
I'm Florine Mark for Weight Watchers. Summer's coming.
You have Weight Watchers and you have your meetings and you have the Weight Watcher product. Then you have Florine, who is the person who you actually see, the face of that brand. She's the one that talks about that she went on the program and lost 50 pounds and she's kept it up. She is the actual brand. She goes on TV, she goes on radio, you'll see articles, magazines, numerous different things. She speaks all around the world. And what she does is she gives that message of hope.
My story began in Detroit, Michigan on Elmhurst and Linwood when I was born and came to live with 13 family members. We were extremely, extremely poor. And it was a wonderful growing up because all these people told me how much they loved me and how good I was.
I didn't realize, and I don't think any of us did, that we were kind of poor. I thought we were rich because of the family that we have. We grew up in a home where our grandparents lived downstairs. And family and extended family and aunts and uncles and their families, we all congregated.
We were very, chubby. That's a good word, chubby. And every time we sat down to eat, it was like a thrill of a lifetime. And I was fine until I went to school, and then I was called Fat Flo. My mother was fortunate enough that she saved some money and let me go to diet doctors. I took all those horrible pills, and I'd lose it, the 50 pounds, and then I'd gain it, and I'd lose it, and I'd gain it, and I'd lose. I think I did it in about 9 times. And one day I overdosed on one pill given to me by a diet doctor, went to the hospital, and the doctor, my family doctor, said, if you ever take diet pills again, I'm not responsible for your life. So I gained the weight again. By this time I'd gotten married, had a baby, and unfortunately divorced, and then met a wonderful man, and who's quite a bit older, but he was absolutely terrific and fabulous. We got married. I have 5 children now all of a sudden, and life is good.
There was a lot of love. I mean, we might have been squished in a little tiny house, but there was really a lot of love, and I remember holidays, we'd be in my grandparents' basement, and you know, maybe there'd be 50 of us in this little room that was a quarter the size of this room, and it was just fun.
All these kids, you know, a mother of 5, she deserves to get fat, you know, she works hard. So I heard about this thing called Weight Watchers in New York, and I called up the founder of blessed memory, Jean Neidish, and she said, I can't, there's nothing in Detroit, you have to come to New York.
It was a very emotional approach. When she went to New York and met Jean Neidish, who was the founder of the company, Jean was a very dynamic individual, and I think a lot of that rubbed off onto my mother. I mean, she would go in for a week at a time and go to 3 or 4 meetings a day.
I went to New York. It was a very stringent, hard diet, but I knew I had to do this, and I went back 4 times. She let me come back once a month, and I stayed 5 days, and I lost 40 pounds in 4 months. At Weight Watchers, what you learn and what you gain is self-respect. And then she said to me, Florine, why don't you take this back to Detroit? I put a sign in a candy store because I was so full of confidence. Can you imagine that I talked the man at the candy store to let me put a sign in and said, come lose weight with Weight Watchers.
I believe it was 1966 is when she brought the franchise back to Detroit. I was old enough so I could work in with the business.
My Aunt Chili, my Aunt Fanny, my Uncle Manny, my Aunt Sandy, my grandmother, my grandfather, all of us, we were all kind of involved.
My first meeting that I had was on a Tuesday night on 7 Mile Road in Greenfield in a Jewish big organization called Shalom Aleichem Institute, and they had an auditorium. They gave me the auditorium. And when I got up there and I saw 30 people, and I said, what am I going to tell them? I can't do this. I can't talk in front of anybody. And I thought I was going to faint. So I went downstairs and I looked in the mirror and I said, hey, Florine, what do you want? These are 30 people that need you.
If she did have that fear of speaking, she was so mesmerizing and engaging that I stopped often what I was doing just to listen to her. She was it. She was the show. And pretty soon, I think there was over 200 people in that room where they began to expand.
I'll never forget really what changed my mind about going out and doing other things. Lady came back, she had 100 pounds to lose. The first week, people that have a lot of weight to lose a lot of weight fast. She lost about 8 pounds the first week. She came in, she said, oh my God, Florine, you've changed my life. Look at me. Well, you can't see a difference in a person that has 100 pounds to lose when they've only lost 8, but she saw the difference. And I looked at her and she said, thank you so much, with tears in her eyes. And I said to myself, you know what? That's what I want to do the rest of my life. I want to help people get healthy and feel good about themselves. Hi, I'm Florine Mark for Weight Watchers. People say to me, oh yeah, your business is so big and so good and whatever else, because you're just lucky. Yeah, I say I am lucky, but I work very, very hard at being lucky.
I've never met anybody with this type of energy. She's always on. Her energy and her enthusiasm and her excitement is something that's very revealing about her personality, and it's very, very catching.
Years ago, we started putting Florine on radio and TV, and there's Ask Florine, and there's Weight Watchers.
Before Florine, you saw a lot of men on TV. They were advertising for their particular products. But Florine was really the first woman who was identifiable as somebody who had grown a business, and a very, very successful business. So she really was a trailblazer.
I grew up in the Metro Detroit area, so I knew Florine from TV commercials and from locally being kind of a celebrity. I don't think until you really get to know everything she's done, you don't understand how much she really has changed the face of Weight Watchers locally.
She built it on sheer passion. She was lit up because it worked for her. She wanted to proselytize and tell every single person on this planet about Weight Watchers, how good it was, how it works, how successful they can be.
There's a reason why Weight Watchers is cited as the only weight loss program with proof it works. No gimmicks. Our turnaround program lets you eat the foods you love and lose weight.
I soon helped other people get franchises, and when they wanted to retire or they wanted to sell, I was right there. I ended up in 14 states and 3 countries, president of Weight Watchers, and it was fabulous.
Florine, in addition to having so many other jobs, also works at Local 4 as a contributor, doing an Ask Florine segment where people come on and ask advice on a variety of different topics. So Florine technically is an employee of mine.
Hi, I'm Florine Mark of Weight Watchers, and it's really important for all of us to take care of our teeth, but it's even more important for women.
I'm always in awe of her ability to answer and really be able to do it in a short period of time and be incredibly informative.
Florine defined the female entrepreneur. I mean, for years, we watched her on TV deliver a message of Weight Watchers that was a business message. And she was a very visible role model to girls growing up saying, I could be on TV, I could run a business, I can be Florine Mark.
She was working a very successful business, and she wasn't there like most moms of the time when we were growing up.
None of my friends, none of their mothers worked. My mother was the only one that was out there working. And it was a different day and age. Mothers didn't work. At least where we grew up, they didn't work.
Kids would say, your mom's on TV, your mom's doing this, your mom's doing that. I'd say, yeah, you know, I'd kind of be shy about it. But after a while, it was nice.
And I'm sure many times they disliked me terribly when all the mothers and fathers were at some school event and this mother wasn't, because she had to be working. You know, you have to sacrifice things. I still have guilt feelings that I wasn't at the soccer games, that I didn't do all those things that I see my children and grandchildren doing with their children.
That's probably her own little guilt that she may have. But I would say just the opposite. She pulls the family together. If there's anyone in our family that keeps us all together, it's her, without a doubt.
I mean, she's a very busy lady. She's on every committee, every board you can imagine, but it's not as important as family and keeping everyone together.
Oh my gosh, when I think of my grandmother, the first thing I think of is family and how much she loves family, and I think of our family dinners and just being loved and being with family.
Her focus on family, her knowledge about everybody in her family, a different generation, now we have 4 generations, is amazing. My granddaughter is a great-granddaughter, and the amount of information and knowledge she has about what my granddaughter experiences and her daily involvement shows you the level of detail that she's interested in. For me, she's been my mother since my parents passed away, even before. My parents lived in a different country. So I've always connected family to Florine.
And she also feels the community is her family. So she invites everybody to these family dinners. And all of our kids' friends call her Bubby.
She has collected so many other grandchildren throughout her life. So, I call her Bubby because that's the Yiddish word for grandmother. So many of my other friends and my siblings' friends refer to her as Bubby because she's the Bubby.
I never see her where she doesn't ask after me, my husband, my children, my grandchildren. She knows their names. And it's amazing. And I'd like to think I was special, but I know I'm not. I know that that's true of Florine's relationship with thousands of people. She really cares.
She's very loving, and once you're her friend, once you're part of her family, you're there forever.
If she's in town, she's always having dinner for the family, and it's not just the kids, it's the extended family or whoever wants to come. And that's probably her greatest thrill is family.
It's just sitting around a Sunday night dinner table, just being very casual and just sort of that warm family moment. It's very much a part of our lives. We do it every week.
I'm a mother, and my kids, every time we sit down to eat together, I make everybody talk. And they go, "Oh, Mom, I don't want to do that again." And I try to ask a question what would you give up? If you had to give one thing up in life, what would you give up? You learn so much about people when you ask these questions.
I remember there was one family dinner when she wanted us all to talk, and it was, who would you have dinner with, dead or alive? Tell me a story about why you would want to have dinner with that someone.
She makes everyone tell a story. She makes everyone tell something funny about themselves. And you'll be amazed at how much that bonds other women together, other people in the room, and how close it makes all of us feel.
And somehow we all kind of lower our barriers and we respond to the question, and it's usually really a lot of fun.
She would love an opportunity to have someone pass her a microphone, and so, she wants everybody else to sort of, I think, experience that joy and self-love.
Every morning when I get up, I lie in bed and I say, in with the good and out with the bad. And then I say, God, thank you so much. And I take all the things that are stressful, that I don't like, whatever. I don't even think about them.
Everybody in our family has had some sort of adversity, and I can't think of a single family member who hasn't overcome their obstacles to get to where they wanted to be in life.
I've had some really tough times in my lifetime. The father of my 4 children, he died of cancer.
My dad I didn't know him very well because he was very quiet. He lost his father when he was 2 years old, so he didn't have a father figure. Very smart, very introspective. He was very loving, but in his own very quiet way.
And then I went on and remarried another love of my life, and he brought me 2 more children. That's how I got 7. And we're all very, very close with each other. And he got Lou Gehrig's disease, and he couldn't move anything but blink his eyes. That's when I wrote my book, Talk to the Mirror, because I stayed home and took care of him. I tube fed him. And he just couldn't do anything, but we tried to make every day as good as we possibly could.
She very rarely left his side and put everything aside when Bill was sick. And that was probably one of the hardest things that she ever experienced, ever.
Bill was the true Renaissance man. He could do everything. He was wonderful in terms of his profession. He was a doctor. He loved to read, he loved to write, he loved to sing, he loved music.
I said, I didn't marry you for the tennis and the golf and all the other things that we do physically. I said, I married you for your good heart, for your personality, for your character, for your love, and for your love of me and my love of you.
Bill was larger than life, and he was very special. He and my husband, my late husband, and most of the guys were very close to Bill.
I'm very lucky. When my husband was with Lou Gehrig's disease, I had 4 wonderful girls that surrounded me. There was Zena, Marla, there was Lois, and there was Sue. And every month or once a week, they'd take me on an excursion, and I never smiled. I couldn't smile. I'd smile with my husband whenever he woke up and I was taking care of him. Boy, that big smile, I was all happy. I'm going to be gay and wonderful for him. And when I'm not around him, all I want to do is scream and yell and cry.
We decided we wanted to do something that would just be fun, where she could giggle and laugh. And so Marla and Lois and Sue and I decided we would take her to the zoo and we would take her to the penguin house. And we knew the penguins would make her giggle and laugh. And sure enough, it was the best medicine ever for Florine. And as we stood there and we watched the penguins and we identified penguins as though they were people we knew, we were watching them strut around. We were watching them do these silly things.
I laughed and laughed. All of that was bent up inside of me just came out, and we laughed. And we decided to call ourselves the Penguins.
And I can remember that we all sort of, put our arms around one another, and we've always pledged to be friends. We always pledged to be penguins.
Some of us don't have much family here. That's me. And I know the penguins are my family. And we're always grateful to Florine for that.
We bonded that day. It was just an amazing gathering.
Find some people that you really love. Might be family, might be other. My family, of course, we take care of each other. But these 4 girls, I will never forget them, and I will love them all my life for what they've done for me, and I hope I can give back to them as much as they gave to me.
And welcome inside the Ford studio here at Detroit Public TV's Riley Broadcast Center. This is Bravo, Florine Mark. This in-studio celebration honors the life, the work, the influence, and of course, we are surrounded by well-wishers, celebrants, family, and friends. Part of a series of programming where we showcase the contributions of Metro Detroiters telling our Detroit story. Going to talk to Florine Mark in just a moment or so, but before we get there, we want to invite you in to join our volunteers by making a phone call on the pledge. And if you would like your own copy of this film, terrific Detroit story, bravo, Florine Mark, make a phone call on the pledge right now. The $60 giving level and above, $5 a month ongoing as a monthly sustainer. We will say thank you and send you your very own copy. If you love Detroit, you know, after all, this is the world's biggest small town where everybody knows each other and we all have great friendships and associations. And of course, there is that influence. And when we run into once-in-a-lifetime mentors, teachers, coaches, friends like Florine Mark, well, we celebrate that. And we hope you will as well. If you love Detroit, we have another special thank you gift. How about this? Detroit Remember When? A chronicle, a look back at our history together, the $72 giving level and above, $6 ongoing as a monthly sustainer, 2 episodes in that program, celebrating everything that is Detroit over the last 100 years or so. But tonight, we celebrate Florine Mark. Over to Jamie with more.
Well, Fred, here I am, joined with the icon herself, Florine Mark. Welcome to Detroit Public Television, and so glad to have your story here on PBS.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
You've been honored many times, as you should, but that love, love, love that you continue to give back is just one of the very reasons why we wanted to honor you tonight in our annual celebration of leaders and icons of this region. And so Detroit Public Television wishes to present you with this Lifetime Achievement Award to celebrate and say bravo to Florine Mark here on 2017.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
And with that, this beautiful bouquet of flowers from our friends at English Gardens, and so many here in the studio this evening celebrating with us, contributing to make the great storytelling of public television possible. So to all of those in the room here, from our Society for Excellence to our Smith Leadership Circle and all of your great friends and family, what does it mean to be honored here on public TV with your story to share, hopefully, with the world?
Well, before I answer that question, can I say that I've been watching PBS for many, 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 many years. I started with Sesame Street, and then Mr. Rogers, and then on and on and on, and all the wonderful, you know, Downton Abbey and all the wonderful things. And I've always wanted to shake hands and congratulate your volunteers. And tonight I got that opportunity because without them, they are absolutely wonderful. So I just hope that everybody out there understands that these people give their time and their energy day after day after day for you and I. Now, what is it like to be honored? Well, I'd rather be honoring you, honestly. It's very exciting, and I'm going to cry if I answer that question. And I'm very lucky to be here and to have all these people with me and to be able to be on this absolutely fabulous, fabulous station. And I hope Downton Abbey does another one, okay? That's all I want.
Well, you can count on Masterpiece here on Sunday nights, and you can count on more great storytelling in public television. When you make that call of support, you support Florine Mark and all of the great leaders of our region right now.
Well, I don't know about Downton Abbey, but if Florine Mark wants it, I think the odds just edged into our favor. So I think that's one of the things we always continue to reach out to you with your programming suggestions. And the best way that we know that you love public television is by doing as Florine suggests, talking to our volunteers here on the phone banks, making a phone call and a contribution of support. And when you do that, we'll send you your very own copy of the film, if that is right for you, the $60 giving level, or $5 a month, ongoing as a monthly sustainer. Bravo, Florine Mark, we want you to have that. And when you call in, make that pledge and make public television reality for another year. We are celebrating our stories. One Detroit is the phrase here at Detroit Public TV as we chronicle stories about us, with us, in this entire community. And we encourage you to help us to do that right now. We do have a great library of Detroit-based historical programming that is available to you when you do make a contribution of support. Detroit Remember When, a very favorite series. Everything's in this, from Black Bottom to the Boulevard, Edgewater Park, Verner's, Olympia Stadium, the big flag on Hudson's. All of it is in this. plus much more in episode 2, Cruising Woodward, Cruising Gratiot, if that's a thing. We want you to have that at 72 and above. There's a great book from Our Magazine that's about 187 pages, those photo essays, capturing different moments in time of our shared history. And of course, you can put it all together, make a contribution of support. How about this 180, both DVDs and the book? But you do have to call right now. That number is on the screen, or go online, dptv.org. But it's always more fun when you connect live in the studio to one of our community volunteers, taking your phone calls and your gift. They're here, they're waiting for you. All you have to do is pick up that phone and call right now.
Well, go to the phone, talk to one of our volunteers. But Florine, I wanted to ask you, I love that you make everyone talk at dinner.
They're not always happy, by the way.
But you didn't answer the questions. I know that your granddaughter mentioned in terms of who would be the one person that you would want to have dinner with, dead or alive, I think you said.
I did, right. And I do answer. I'm always the first one. I always give an example of, because I know what the question is going to be. And I've had fabulous answers. I mean, I've had people say God. You know, I've had people say Jesus. I've had people say presidents and everything. Who would I want to have dinner with, dead or alive? Well, I can't be political now, right?
You can be whatever you want. We're balanced, trusted.
I'd like to have dinner with President Trump and tell him. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say a word.
Okay, so what would be the one material thing you would give up?
That's a good question I ask everybody, especially when I have lunches or dinners and there's a whole bunch of different people there. And I think that I used to say, you know, of course it can't be a family member and it can't be somebody, a living thing. And radio and television, you know, public television, of course, I wouldn't want to give up PBS. And I wouldn't give up my radio. It goes on first thing in the morning. NPR goes right on, first thing I get up in the morning. But I think, and I used to say Cool Whip, because boy, do I love Cool Whip. But I don't do that anymore. But the one thing I probably wouldn't want to give up, because I have very curly hair, is my blow dryer. How about that?
That's a good one. I love that. Well, you don't want to give up public television. You want to go to the phone right now, make a pledge of support, call in, talk to one of our volunteers, support Florine, support the great leadership here throughout the region, and take a home copy of the DVD of the very program that you'll enjoy again and again with that $60 call right now.
And Florine, Arlene is on the phone from Florida, calling in a pledge, watching on the live stream. She says hello, so if you'd like to send a message and get a contribution to Detroit Public TV, do that right now. And this reminder, your contribution of support keeps programming alive. That's how it happens. We build this public television station together. So connect with us, 1-800-859-9887, the phone number wherever you're watching us. Here in Southeast Michigan or worldwide at dptv.org, you can always connect by phone or online. So do that. The $60 giving level and above, bravo, Florine Mark, $5 a month ongoing as a monthly sustainer. If you'd like to sign up that way, it's a great way to do it. We also have at the $72 giving level and above, Detroit Remember When, the 2-hour episode, 2 DVD set. With all that great Detroit history we like to remember, with all that footage that you can't seem to find anymore, and it's a terrific look back at lots of things that have improved over time and many, many things that just simply aren't there anymore. We also have the book from Our Magazine. If that is right for you, send that along to you, the photo essays. Just a real nice travel back in time, coffee table style book. $7 a month ongoing as a monthly sustainer, or if you'd like to celebrate, as our folks are doing here inside the Ford studio, honoring the contribution and the great work from Florine Mark, maybe go $180, $15 a month as a sustainer. We will thank you with all of it, and of course, the most important thing, more programming for another year. So often you're watching public television and you stumble upon something that you've never seen anything like it before, and that is a hallmark of public TV, whether it's grand performances, news, documentaries, intimate chamber orchestras, or grand concerts from throughout the world. It's always on public television. And the most important thing we do, everything else is second best, is those children's programs like Sesame Street and all the things we do for kids and grandkids. Connect with us right now. Say hi to Florine and make a pledge.
Florine, I had asked you this before when we got together at Wayne State and you brought the Committee of 200 here to Detroit, which was a monumental event, bringing all of these amazing women that you joined forces with nationally. And you shared the story about what it meant and what it was like being a female entrepreneur in the 60s. Take us back to that day.
But first of all, I want to say, I hope I don't get a tweet, but I do want to say honestly and truthfully that I hope that this president does so well that we're all going to want to vote for him in 4 years. Okay, so going back a few years, it was very difficult being a woman. I couldn't get a bank loan. The Renaissance was wonderful. These wonderful men that were helping the city, the Illiches and the Don Bardens, a blessed memory, and Bill and the Fords and everybody, and they decided they needed a token woman. So Mr. Fisher Max and Mr. Alan Schwartz, Mr. Al Taubman decided I'm going to be the token woman because they were the only woman they knew. So they got me elected to the Detroit Renaissance. I was the only woman for many, many, many years. They thought they'd have a token. Well, can you see this lady being a token?
Didn't work out so well, did it?
It was wonderful, and now we're BLM, and I think there's 4 of us. In fact, one of the women is Sandy Pearson. She's sitting here today, and president of Huntington Bank, and she's on our BLM. And then I got invited to join Committee of 200. It's very exciting, all these wonderful women, and you get to network and you don't feel so alone, that you're not out there by yourself. It's very high financial standard, but you have to, you really have to give of yourself to belong to this. And when we brought it to Wayne State, it was a chance to give back to the MBA students what we were, and hopefully some of these MBA students, these girls, it was only girls, will eventually be able to join C200.
That's excellent. Well, all along the way, you've always given back. So we say again, a big thank you to you and bravo. We're going to be going back to more of Florine Mark's story here on Detroit Public Television. But as we do, we hope that we can count on you going to the phone right now and giving back to PBS.
Heading back to the film in just a moment or so, but here inside the Ford studio, the celebrants and family and friends honoring the legacy from Florine Mark. And of course, we're doing the same thing with our series of specials that showcases contributions of great Detroiters. You can help us to continue to do that by making a contribution. We'd love to send you your own copy of the film. We would also like to say thank you to all the sponsors that helped make the broadcast possible here on Detroit Public Television. So many community-minded companies, foundations, and individuals. And that list certainly has longtime supporters and new ones as well. We thank you for that, and we continue with more great programming for another year with your participation. So great to have you along with us, but the only way we can continue this is with your participation. Doesn't have to be a huge amount. Whatever giving level is right for you, make sure that is what you send to public television. If you watch, if you love it, and if it serves a need in your house, particularly for kids and grandkids, make that contribution of support right now. Do that by calling the number on the screen or going online, dptv.org, and join us at whatever giving level is right for you. More of the film coming up. We're going to stay right here, take your phone calls, your pledges, and your well wishes here at Bravo. Florine Mark, live from the Ford studio at Detroit Public TV's Riley Broadcast Center, telling Detroit stories. Telling them along with you, 1-800-859-9887, or always you can pledge to us. Online at our website, dptv.org. It's all here. Connect right now.
Look at you, you're wonderful. You are people that are doing something about you. For me, success is first deciding what you want. It's very hard. I mean, you say, oh yeah, I want this, this, and this, but really think about it. What is it you really want, okay? And then you have to decide what you're willing to give up to get it. There is no free ride.
She grew up in an environment that was the most unlikely environment for her to emerge out of as a business leader and as a woman business leader. And the power of her childhood and the story of her life kind of defines her.
Being a woman in a man's world is difficult. You go to these board meetings and you are one of only a few women, and it can be intimidating. I know that there were a lot of financial difficulties. In the 60s, she couldn't open up a checking account without my dad's assistance or a man's assistance.
She was a feminist before we knew, what feminists were, and it was cool. She's sort of a Renaissance woman. She can do it all.
I remember growing up, just always believing that women could go out and do these things because I had a very strong role model.
She took her own personal challenge and created a world that has impacted millions and millions of lives and people, that help them to do healthy living, to manage their weight, to build up their own self-esteem, and to accomplish things in life. From a mentorship standpoint, she teaches me to keep going.
I was a young, aspiring entrepreneur who had been asked to take over a not-for-profit organization that was failing in this community, the Hospice of Southeastern Michigan. And I was working very, very hard to turn that organization around. Florine said, yes, I'll help you. Yes, I'll introduce you to people. I'll give you business advice. I'll help you be a successful entrepreneur. I'll advocate for you. I'll be in your corner. And she has been for the rest of my life.
As a woman, it's really difficult to have it all. And many people, many women struggle with that. But I think Florine has taught a lot of us that you in fact can have it all. You might not have it all at the exact same time, but that you can live a life where you have a family, where you have children, where you have people that you love, and yet you can be successful in business.
I hope that they see a role model who is loving and shows who she is and isn't afraid to hide it.
I think Florine has inspired not only me, but countless women, not only in this metropolitan Detroit area, but across the country and across the world. She became a self-made woman at a time when that was not done. She comes from very humble roots. She's got 7 kids. She's scrapped her way into creating a worldwide business, and that's very inspiring.
You go around this community and you say, oh yes, Florine was my mentor. Oh, she was mine too. That's amazing.
I would say she's a role model in general, whether you're a woman or a man, because I've started companies. And I gotta give her tremendous credit for being an inspiration, a thought leader, and someone that's delivered results.
I would say that there's not one person that's ever been in my life that stood up for me and was there for me more than her.
And that is what I'm very grateful for Florine, because not only every day do we work together, and she has inspired that belief in myself, I have that feeling in my personal life. She makes you believe that you can be anything you want to be, and you can be the best of it.
Florine is always there to help and to encourage and to motivate and to uplift and to share her life experience, her life learning with others to help them.
There aren't many women who've achieved what she's achieved in the business space, in the professional space, in the philanthropic space. She was very conscious of giving other women opportunities to thrive.
In my 20s, I struggled with my weight, and I decided to give Weight Watchers a chance, and I lost 70 pounds. After that, I decided that I felt like a calling to work for the company.
This is your support. This is where you get motivated, where you feel it.
I love the fact that primarily we work with women. The more that other women can build each other up and not tear each other down, it makes a huge difference.
Every year they have this event that Weight Watchers has for people who lost 50 to 250 pounds. And not one person in that group, and it's happened every year she's been in business, not one person in that building was happier for the person than she was.
It's amazing. She really takes it to heart, and we kind of feed off of that too, because that motivation and inspiration becomes, what fills our cup too.
I have all these wonderful people that are working with us, all these leaders and receptionists or coaches and teammates. Every one of them have had a weight problem, sat in our classes, lost the weight, then go through our training, and always we're retraining all the time, all of us, and they're here to help you. And you're here to help each other.
I'm grateful for everybody that works with me, everybody in this office, and every coach, every leader, and every receptionist. And I think being grateful, so many of us forget to be grateful.
I worked for her for many years as a director of training and development, which is how I ended up in my speaking in my own life, because I had that opportunity.
I could have gone into the family business, which was doing very well at the time, and I kind of was leaning in that direction. A lot of my friends were saying, yeah, just do that. She said to me, don't do that. Do something different. Make something of yourself aside from this business. It'll always be there. You can always be part of it, but do something else. And I went into medicine. That was the greatest gift she ever gave me.
We didn't grow up in a negative world in our family. You know, it was always positive. It wasn't what you couldn't do, it's like, what can you do?
Our mother was an orphan who really instilled in us that you need to take care of yourself. She had a saying, if you cut your finger, you bleed. And so she really pushed us all forward. And even my sister, who was a paraplegic, when she died, she was on the Michigan Civil Rights Commission. I mean, she pushed all of us.
That's an extremely big thing in my life. When my sister got polio at 9, I have been marching for the March of Dimes to collect dimes. And those dimes is what allows Jonas Salk to find a vaccine, so you and your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren and the people in the world will never again get polio, okay? That's extremely important. So it's important for me to give back.
Her greatest thrill in life, I think, is giving to like charities and working for charities. That's her real thrill. And she's in a business that gives people hope and gives people health. And she does it better than anyone I've ever met.
I have a counsel in physical fitness. And if you think about it, it's all about wellness and people taking personal responsibility for their health and well-being. And it's been great to have Florine engaged in all that because she meets all those benchmarks about wellness, personal responsibility, and fitness. She's a role model for all of us.
When I was running the Detroit Medical Center, Florine was on the board of Children's Hospital and was one of my bosses. And it was remarkable to see her passion for quality of care and treatment of children, and the same kind of passion you see for fitness and weight management, she put into taking care of children, and she's just a very special person.
I personally work with a group called Women of Tomorrow. I go into the schools, I mentor these girls. Once a month I go to Cody from the 9th grade to 12th grade. We have collectively in Detroit, we have a 98% rate of kids graduating.
She positions herself on many boards, and then she'll be mentors to young women, and she also will go into the Detroit schools and she'll work with children, and she will get to a level, sit on the floor, play with them, and talk about fruits and vegetables.
I can't remember a time where she said no to anybody for any type of charitable event, any kind of mentoring, helping somebody. I can't think of one situation where she's done anything like that, where she's given because she thought, aha, I'm going to get something back. Never.
I'm very, very supportive of Jewish Federation. I sit on the board of Jewish Federation. I'm the chairman of the Jewish Center right now, but Federation is very important. We have 18 agencies at Federation. Assisted living, senior citizens, and Hebrew Free Loan, and Jewish Vocational Service, and the Jewish Center, and the Jewish schools, and they're open to everybody.
She's proud of being a Midwest gal with her Jewish heritage. There's a very strong Jewish community here where folks have grown up and know each other and have deep bonds and deep friends.
She put her roots down here. She kind of dug in with her first, when she bought the first franchise and started it here. So this is her foundation. So I think Detroit, Michigan is her base. And no matter where she's gone in life, she comes right back to here, which is the Midwest.
Florine's story is that she grew up on Elmhurst in Detroit, and what is remarkable is her love for Detroit has never been stronger than today. She's a proponent in so many ways of not just Detroit, but of Michigan, and she gives of herself and her time to promote that.
I think Michigan is the greatest state in the whole union. I love Detroit. I think we are the absolutely most warm people in all the states. You know, I remember I was in 14 states and I used to go around and I had wonderful people. But coming to Detroit, I think it's so much easier for them to come into and become part of Detroit. If they just join your synagogue, join your church, join some agencies, some philanthropic agencies, and people just want to surround you. And I know we are the most giving people.
It's important to her. She makes many contributions, and she really, really cares. So her life is not circumscribed by living in the suburbs.
I do believe that Detroit is the most important city in America. It will be even more important in the future. And having community leaders that have made the city what it is today is incredible. She is the consummate Detroiter. Her entire identity is wrapped up in being from Detroit, being from Michigan.
I think she's wrapped her arms around people that live here. It's still our town, and I feel very much about the city that she does. I love the city, and she loves the city, and she embraces the people that live here, and I love that about her.
She really leaned in a time, in a place, in a community, even today, where it would have been enough had she started Weight Watchers. It would have been enough had she been on one board, but it was never enough for her. It was never enough just to say yes to this cause or yes to this organization. She keeps going, and she keeps finding those causes and keeps finding those organizations and those business opportunities, and she keeps seeking to provide for her family, provide for the business, and provide for the world, to be a change agent for good. And so for her, you know, she should be commended, and we should say bravo, because it was never just enough to do one thing.
There's probably no one in this community that we should be saying more bravos to. So, Florine, bravo for your life, for your work, and for who you are.
Bravo for the women and men that she's mentored in business and in the community. We should be saying bravo for the philanthropic spirit that she's instilled in her family and that she carries out in the community. And she's Mom, you know, we should say bravo to Mom.
She broke the mold, and I don't think there's ever gonna be anyone like her ever again. I mean, she's able to do everything, and it just blows my mind. I mean, how can someone have, you know, as many children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren as she has and still run a successful business? And I'm not allowed to tell you how old she is, but at her age, you know, and she runs circles around me, and you know, she'll never change. She's a bright star, and she burns hard, and I think that the world would be very different had she not been a part of it, and I'm so grateful that she is, and I know she's going to be around for a long time doing the same thing.
She's still in the office. Certain days of the week, she's still here. She's still part of it. She still has a voice. She hasn't let it go silent.
I think we're saying bravo to Florine Mark for all she does to change the lives of so many people for the better, and just her kindness and being out there to help everybody in the community.
You want to say bravo to anybody who continues on a journey, who continues on a path of greatness and energy. She will be there for a group who needs her. She will lend her voice, her dollars, her passion, and her talent. And you say bravo to people who don't sit it out. I'm a big Florine Mark fan.
She's made a truly positive impact on the entire state of Michigan, on 10 million people, teaching us a better path about how to be healthier, about having a better lifestyle, about living a better life in general.
She actually created a business, and she took that business and it wound up being a lever for her to do so many other things in the community. And she's added so much to so many groups and added so much to so many friendships. And that's why I would say bravo, 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 Florine.
I've always remembered that generosity which she exhibits in so many ways. She has a big heart and a small waist.
She's truly a jewel. For Michigan, for women, I really don't think our city and state realizes who we have. Bravo, I don't even know if that's enough. She's special.
She deserves applause from all of the community because she's embraced them, she's loved them, and we've all loved her back. So bravo, Florine.
Bravo, Florine, for being so phenomenal at virtually everything you do. You inspire us every single day, and we love you tremendously.
Bravo that she's the role model I had in my life. I would have never been where I am in going back to school, getting a master's, a PhD. I know that for a fact. I would have never achieved everything I have achieved. had I not been her sister.
She's a remarkable woman. She is truly a remarkable woman. I could not be more proud of her than I am today.
I want to say bravo, Bubby. Bravo to Florine, because you're my heart. Without you, I wouldn't have my mother. I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't have my children. You're an inspiration. You're an amazing person. You're an amazing businesswoman, and you're an amazing family member and matriarch, and I love you.
Bravo to being a wonderful human being. Bravo to being a terrific mother, for being an outstanding leader, for being an outstanding role model. Florine, love, love, love. I love you, babe.
And welcome back once again inside the Ford studio here at Detroit Public TV's Riley Broadcast Center, and this is Bravo, Florine Mark. Well, it is a terrific celebration, an honoring of the commitment, of course, the philosophy, the caring, the love, and the love from Florine Mark. And you know what? You can say bravo as well to Florine and to public television by connecting with our phone volunteers and making a contribution. Doesn't have to be a huge amount. Make a statement. If it's 60 and above, we'd love to send you a copy of this film that we produced just for this occasion, part of our ongoing series from One Detroit, telling Detroit stories and just spinning them up about remarkable Detroiters. And Florine Mark certainly is that. Matt Stinson produced this film with the help of the folks here at the station as well. And ultimately, your help by making a pledge of support. If this is right for you, connect right now. Call the number on the screen or online, dptv.org. A $60 gift, $5 a month, signs you up ongoing as a monthly sustainer. We have some other great Detroit-oriented thank you gifts when you do make a pledge. It's the Detroit Remember When series, 2 episodes. This is Motor City Memories and Hometown Traditions. And then the American Dream of the Automobile, that's episode 2. That gets into the sports teams and the Lions when they were good, and cruising and Gratiot and Woodward and all that. So think about $72 or $6 a month. A great book from Our Magazine. There's great ways to say thank you. You'd like to even maybe join Society for Excellence as a major donor to the station. Anything in between, make that commitment right now and say bravo.
Children.
I'm just chatting over here with Florine Mark. Such great heartfelt wishes of wishing you a bravo and saying thank you to you on behalf of all of your family and friends. And here this evening, you've seen them here in the studio, and we have a special friend who wanted to send her well wishes to you, who couldn't make it into the film, but we captured something with her from St. Louis, and I think you know her quite well, Maxine Clark.
Yeah, she built Build-A-Bear. That's her company, was Build-A-Bear. And she's a another phenomenal, fabulous, wonderful woman. Before she built Build-A-Bear, she was, excuse me, president of Payless Shoes. And she decided, I got to change my career in midlife. And she did it. She says, I'm going to Build-A-Bear. I'm going to start this thing called Build-A-Bear. And she said, called me up and she says, would you like to invest? I said, Maxine, Build-A-Bear? Come on, give me a break. 600 stores later. So you see, if you want to do something bad enough, you can do it.
It's passion and
absolutely
and willpower. Well, let's take a look at Maxine Clark's wishes for Florine Mark here in celebrating. Bravo, Florine.
Thank you.
Florine Mark is one of a kind. I know everyone in Detroit knows that, but her inspiration and influence knows no geographic bounds. As a member of the Florine fan club, I joined thousands of women whose lives and health has been changed forever and for the better. I first met Florine as a member of C200 in 1991, and we became fast friends. She was literally the first woman entrepreneur I had ever met. At every chance, she encouraged me to start my own business and cheered me on when Build-A-Bear Workshop came to fruition. A special memory I have is visiting her in Detroit and talking about my business plan in her closet. Where else do creative women have their best ideas? Florine, all of the 150 million teddy bears made at Build-A-Bear Workshop over the last 20 years has a little bit of your heart and your chutzpah inside. Your inspiration has meant the world to me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and bravo on this great honor.
Well, you just never know the difference you will make when you get connected. Of course, we encourage you to do that right now. More with Jamie and Florine Mark in just a moment or so as we celebrate Bravo Florine Mark here on public television. This series of remarkable portraits about remarkable Detroiters, some of whom are manning our phone banks, always doing what's right for public television here inside the call center, taking phone calls and gifts. You know, we talk a lot about moments in public television, and they are now waning. So we'd love to hear from you right now. Capture this moment in time. Celebrate that, share memories, take that influence, that tradition, that coaching, or maybe just a kind word here or there you've had from Florine Mark in person over the years, or maybe even in her many, many television commercials or media appearances. Pay that forward. Make a contribution of support. If you do it at 16 above, we'll say thank you with your own copy of the film. It is a great way to celebrate public television, a cool thank you gift. You can watch it again and again and derive some more of that inspiration, coaching, teaching, mentoring, influencing, sometimes I think probably quite directly, I can sense from the family, but also sometimes subtly and maybe to a mass audience. Making a difference is what this is all about. And you know what? How often can you make a difference each day? Well, you can make one right now by making a pledge to this public television station. For kids, for families, for the remarkable station and the services that we provide, but really you provide it to yourself, to this community. Love to hear from you. Detroit Remember When, a 2-DVD set, 2-episode set from Detroit Public TV. All of the great, rich Detroit history. This is a fun way to support public TV, $72 or $6 ongoing as a monthly sustainer. Consider becoming a sustainer to the station. It really makes a big difference in all that we have to share together here in Southeast Michigan when you make that call and that pledge right now.
And Florine, you've made such a difference in so many people's lives, and you make a difference when you call in and you support Detroit Public Television. But here in the film, so many have talked about your mentorship. So many of your granddaughters, in terms of that next generation, are talking about the inspiration you've provided them. And seeing all those future generations, what do you hope for these young women to come?
Well, I hope that they're not afraid, and I hope that they are able to do what they want to do, live your dreams. You see, I'm an ordinary person with extraordinary dreams. I'm a visionary, and I sleep, I walk. Whenever I'm walking, I'll do a march. My kids call it the death march, but I'll do a walk. And you know, I'm dreaming. I'm thinking of what I want to do and how I can help. And don't be afraid to ask questions. So many of us, women and men, are afraid to ask questions. I'm not afraid. What's the worst they can tell me? I'm dumb, I'm stupid. Okay, I know I'm not. So I ask the questions if I don't know. And go ahead and do it and live your dreams. If you don't like it, change, do something else. I have that passion, fire in my belly and the passion in my heart. And I wish that for all of you. I wish you all health, and I wish you all love, and I wish you all laughter, because those are the three important things. And do what's right for you, but don't forget your family, and don't forget giving back. And I think we women and men can do exactly that. We can make our mark, leave our mark, pun, in the world by doing whatever, running a company, starting a company, working for corporations, doing philanthropy work. Many women don't work, they just do philanthropy work. I have a daughter, Lisa. She's on every board in the whole world, and she does so much philanthropy work. She does so well and has raised 4 fabulous, gorgeous children. So do what you want, and don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Do what you want, go to the phone, make a pledge at a level that's right for you. Maybe joining the Society for Excellence here at Detroit Public Television and joining this wonderful circle of leaders who support the amazing storytelling happening here on Detroit Public TV.
All right, Florine, Wendy Pittman called in, Marcy Orley called in, several others here on the interface. We're getting to some names and some thank yous. We'd also like to, of course, thank the folks who have come out to have this in-studio celebration with us inside the Ford studio at Detroit Public TV's Riley Broadcast Center. Supporters all keeping public television alive, but you can join this in-studio celebration right now by making a pledge, calling that number on the screen, and really making a difference in the life maybe of a child who watches Sesame Street. You know, when you have a room full of this many people, invariably you say, I was talking to Mickey a little bit earlier, Florine's sister, we always say when we go to big rooms full of people, Who's watched Sesame Street? And almost every hand always goes up in the room. And this is how we know we're making a difference. So because whether you're watching with a child or you watched it as a child, or you're anticipating that day when you need it to be here for a child in your life, that's the good stuff. And public television is always there with that commitment to education, to kids, to news, information, everything you love, invariably also, always right here on public TV.
So I'm just talking with Florine. This woman has the most amazing energy in terms of where that comes from. Please help us understand how we can get some of that.
Well, I wake up every single morning and I look in the mirror and I say, good morning, Florine. Today's going to be a good one and you can do whatever you want for one day. I never ask myself to do anything for more than one day. And I go ahead and I do. And I have two choices every day, happy, unhappy. I don't like unhappy, so I decide happy. You see, your brain tells you what to do. You're the only person in the whole world, and I really believe that. I wrote a book called Talk to the Mirror. It's not a diet book. It's just a book of affirmations telling you that, making you to believe in yourself. And if you tell yourself you're going to be happy, sure, there's a lot of things in life every single day that happen that you don't like, but if you feel good about yourself and you love yourself and you're taking care of yourself health-wise, because health is the most important thing. I don't eat sugar. And I decided a long time ago that sugar was not for me, so I don't drink because alcohol is pure sugar. But for me, that's for me. Everybody has to do what's right for them, so I wouldn't want to tell anybody what to do. But for me, I have lots of endless energy, but I believe that I have energy. What you believe is what you have. I believe I have energy. I believe I can do it. I believe life is good. I love living. I hope God gives me another 100 years to live. My auntie died at 104. My Aunt Shirley, she was a fabulous lady. She taught me so much in my lifetime. Everybody teaches me. Everybody in this room has taught me something. So I just think that you can if you really want to. But the most important thing, three important things: health, which is very important. And that means eating properly, not eating a lot of junk, you know, having your treats when you want them, eating properly, moving, exercising. The most important thing that studies show is sociability. Be sure that you have friends, you have family that you can love and they can love you back. Not the computer, not your smartphone, none of that's going to work. It's got to be a face-to-face, a call. I write personal notes to everybody. And then when they send me a thank you for my note, I send them a thank you for their thank you. And I always sign it love, love, love. In fact, my dear friend, a blessed memory, David Hermelin, whom I adored, and his gorgeous wife is here right now. And he loved it so much that when he would send me a letter, he'd always sign it love, love, love. So just love, be healthy, be social, eat properly, move, and believe in you. Believe you can.
Thank you, Florine. We love, love, love you.
Thank you, Jamie.
And bravo to you, and bravo to Detroit Public Television for telling your story, because it needed to be told, and we're so happy to do it. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, this is it, your final opportunity. Call that number on the screen or go online, dptv.org. Allow us to continue along with you to tell more stories about remarkable Detroiters. Motivator, teacher, friend, parent, grandparent, life coach. And boy, I'm disappointed we don't have the cookbook to offer as a pledge thank you gift, but maybe next time. We get your own copy of the film, the $60 giving level and above, $5 a month ongoing as a monthly sustainer. And that keeps you, again, connected to all that is good on television as you continue to tune into the very best that we have to offer right here at Detroit PBS. Bravo to you.
Well, Florine, we're going to be closing the evening out. We want to say a big thank you to our supporters here from our Society for Excellence, our Smith Leadership Circle, and all of your family and friends who have made tonight possible. Some closing remarks in 30 seconds?
Well, forgive and forget. Very important. And love a lot. Love everybody. It makes you so much happier. It makes your life so much better when you have love instead of anger or unhappiness. And thank you, PBS. I love you. And don't forget Downton Abbey.
You can have access to Downton Abbey when you become a member of Detroit Public Television and access Passport, and you can do the binging on your TV at home. But thank you for your calls right now.